I don't know about you guys, but I am super ready for the spring to finally be here. Right now, temperatures, and it's like really bright outside. That's why the lighting conditions in here are a little bit goofy right now, so just bear with me a bit. But we're right on the precipice of spring. It's just being kind of dumpy for the next couple of days where it's like 30, 40 below for whatever reason. I don't know. It was just really nice in the past few days, like negative, single digit negative weather, which is totally fine for this type of year. In fact, it's just relatively normal, whatever that means in today's day and age. And then all of a sudden, just the parting shots of winter being like, oh, I'll see you in a few months. And it's like, okay, that's great, because I'd like to just go outside a lot more and, just kind of get that natural tan on again. Last summer was brutally hot, but I got to spend a lot of time outside and therefore get natural vitamin D, which is going to be the subject of today's video. Like that segue. Anyways, there's been a lot of discussion about vitamin D circulating among natural health enthusiasts recently. As there should be. It's very good for you. So I know we've done a lot of videos, and I've alluded to a bunch of videos that are on the channel specifically about vitamin D, but when it comes to getting it naturally, and what exactly all the effects and what are the negative effects of maybe getting too much, I was going to say the dirty O word on that one, but getting too much vitamin D in your body, I want to give a complete snapshot of vitamin D on this one. So vitamin D is actually a hormone, if you break it down on that one, specifically a prohormone that the body converts into a steroid hormone. Lots of hormones going on. It's synthesized in the skin from sun exposure and activated in the liver and kidneys. Lately, vitamin D has been hotly discussed nutrient for its role in supporting the immune system. Vitamin D is a powerful modulator of the immune system, and it's far from its only role in human health. Vitamin D performs many functions throughout the body, many of them critical to core physiological processes. When we don't have adequate vitamin D levels, it affects every aspect of our physiology because it's intimately involved in the cellular function and genetic expression. The hormone known as vitamin D regulates serum calcium and phosphorus, works synergistically with vitamin A and K2. K2 is, I think, the most popular video on the channel, so it's not hard to find. And then vitamin A is another one of those fat soluble vitamins, just easy for you guys to remember. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, all of their derivatives as well. If you're looking for a way to get vitamin A, we'll do a video on it very shortly, sometime in the near future, okay? But vitamin A, the way that you can get it is through animal byproducts, okay? So meat or cheese or dairy, all that kind of stuff, okay? That's how you get vitamin A. It reduces cellular growth. This is going back to vitamin D. Promotes apoptosis, proper cell death and restoration, therefore improves cellular differentiation. So you don't just have a bunch of just clumped together cells. They all know what they're doing thanks to the implementation of vitamin D. And controls genetic expression. Again, that's kind of a subsection of cell differentiation, but for genes and all of the more specialized atoms in the body. I can't think of a better term, but that'll work for the time being. Vitamin D deficiency is rampant. In fact, 70% of American children aren't getting enough vitamin D. And you'd have to think you can extrapolate that for the rest of the Western world, okay? Especially in Canada, mostly because, through most of the year, okay, it doesn't even have to be in more northern cities like I find myself in, but for 6 months out of the year, the weather is trying to kill you. And then for those 6 months as well, the sun is only out for 4, 5, 6 hours a day. If it's not overcast or rainy, if you don't live in the mountains where it's just kind of a crapshoot as to what the weather's going to be on the day, but it's tough, okay? So you'd think that 70% is probably fairly accurate for the UK, okay, for a lot of continental Europe as well, and then for Canada as well. So go ahead and just extrapolate that out to wherever you find yourself. Numbers might be a little bit higher in those places as well, or they might be a little bit lower, but it's high. It's unnervingly high. We've run tests on thousands of vitamin D over the years at the Restorative Wellness Center. They have, I haven't, I'm just reading an article. And it's rare to see someone with an optimal functional level unless they are serious about optimizing their vitamin D status. We've had hundreds of patients who live in Florida, California, and other southern states, easy for me to say, that are well below optimal vitamin D and magnesium for that matter. Aha, here we have the synergy between magnesium and vitamin D. Magnesium is critical critical to getting good physiological mileage out of vitamin D. Symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. Low levels of vitamin D increase the risk of cancer, autoimmune disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, and osteoporosis. Beware signs of deficiency that can prompt you to address that. Those symptoms include, well, okay, if 70% of children are deficient in vitamin D, you'd have to think, unless you supplement and unless you're going outside. And most adults, okay, what do they do? Okay, when they're outside, that's mostly just walking to their vehicle, okay, or parking their vehicle and then going inside, okay, not seeing the sun, okay. Most of their exercise, an overwhelming amount of people over the past 2 years specifically, their exercise is waking up in the morning, going out to their vehicle, driving to where they have to go. If they even had to, maybe they just cut out this portion as well. Park, walk inside, sit for another 8 hours, repeat. Or it was just wake up, walk upstairs, sit in your office for 8 hours, walk downstairs. Cool. Not really going outside a lot, so would you think that 70% is higher, or maybe just, you know what, kind of shakes out? But more people are starting to know about vitamin D, and that's awesome. But here's some symptoms if you find yourself deficient. Okay, fatigue could mean a lot of things, so just see if any of these other ones work in as well. Migraines, unexplainable migraines, muscle pain, weakness, depression, low improper immune function, hormone dysfunction, increased inflammation, and allergies. Nice. How to optimize vitamin D, because again, good chance that you're probably deficient. And that doesn't mean that you're literally consuming no vitamin D. Deficiency just means that you're below optimal levels, okay? I'll just summarize this because it's written in the voice of the author here. What they're saying is they've worked on how to properly optimize vitamin D, and the best way to do that is to consume it in conjunction with vitamin A and vitamin K2 specifically, okay? When you work with both of those, even if you start to super supplement vitamin D, because it's very popular, okay? A lot of people are using it for various reasons, and most of them are just, good-natured in doing so. But like I said before, there's fat-soluble vitamins that are out there, and those are ones that you can run a toxicity in your body if you consume too much, okay? But like they say here in the final line, vitamin D is less likely to reach toxic levels when consumed with vitamin A and K2. So, if you don't want to properly supplement, if you don't want to, get your vitamins A, D, E, A, K2, if you don't want to get any of those from a multivitamin, okay, you don't want to get them in pill form, how do you get them naturally? Pasture-raised egg yolks, okay? And they have to be pasture-raised, otherwise you get them through grain processes. A chicken doesn't metabolize that, and then when you have your little yolk in your egg pop out, it doesn't have the available vitamin K2 that's out there. It only happens when they're grass-fed, okay? Grass-fed red meat, organ meats such as liver. This is where you can get a lot of vitamin A. Grass-fed raw dairy products such as ghee, which is animal fat, like butter, okay? Cream, milk, kefir. I don't know enough about kefir. I think it's something's fermented. It's a fermented food. I just don't know exactly what it is. And cheese, if tolerated. Again, you should probably be getting, okay, this is one of those dirty little secrets that's out there. Unpasteurized cheese, hard cheese, okay, because less lactose in that cheese, and lactose is just a net negative anyways. It's just a milk sugar, and it's something that your body doesn't properly process, okay? So the harder the cheese, the better. And if you get fewer ingredients that's in there, the cheese that lasts, the more boutique cheeses that you can get, the better they are for you. But again, you can only search that out only if you want it. Cod liver oil. Again, small fish oil as well. Wild-caught fish such as salmon, herring, and sardines. Very important that it's wild-caught, that it's not factory-farmed, because you can really tell the difference, especially when it comes to salmon. Wild salmon, okay, that's high in your omega-3s and your different vitamins as well. It's very red. It's very, very deep pink, as opposed to the factory-farmed stuff that's just kind of, the pink, or even kind of just like a pale-looking orange. It's not very good for you. It's very nutrient deficient. Sure, you'll get your macros out of it, but when it comes to any of the benefits of the nutrition at the micro level, you're kind of coming up empty. You're just rolling snake eyes on that one. And then last but not least, pasture-raised lard, duck, and chicken fat. Again, that's just, different types of ghee that you can get. It is much more difficult to have toxic levels of these nutrients when they are consumed together. Price observed, one of the researchers on these topics, observed traditional people groups that consumed nutrient-dense diets high in these fat-soluble vitamins, and found that they experienced exemplary dental health and overall wellness. Imagine that. People who eat a nice balanced diet are generally more healthy than just these weirdos who only subsist on plants. I feel so happy and so healthy. Sure you do. A skilled clinician will take vitamin A, D, K2, and magnesium status into account when recommending supplementation and be guided by evidence on labs. One thing that's a differentiation, obviously, you see magnesium tacked on with A, D, and K, okay? Magnesium, you can't get a toxicity of, okay? Because it's an electrolyte that your body needs to properly function. Something else that we've talked about quite a bit on the channel as well. Couldn't think of the term. Sorry. But you have an excess of electrolytes in your body. You're just going to pee them out anyway, so don't worry about it. But what about getting vitamin D from the sun if you don't want to get it through bioavailable methods? Okay, you don't like the taste of small fish, okay? You're not much of a dairy person. Okay, you like to keep your red meat to a minimum twice a month. What about getting it from the good old sun now that spring's going to be coming around, now that summer is finally going to return? How about that? Nothing can replace the health benefits of exposure from the vibrant, natural sunlight. Our skin is ultimately responsible for producing vitamin D during sunlight exposure. Ultraviolet radiation penetrates the epidermis and photolyzes a pro-vitamin D3 and pre-vitamin D3 to be used in the body. It is estimated that 80 to 100% of vitamin D we need as a result of sun exposure. The sun exposure that tans the skin, called one minimum thermal dose, produces the equivalent of 10 to 25,000 IUs of vitamin D in our body. Sadly, aging, sunscreen, and increased melanin, oh my god, have decreased the skin's ability to produce pre-vitamin D3. You may ask, why don't I just avoid the sun and take vitamin D instead? Because that's stupid. That just seems like a brainlet way to approach life. Don't go outside. I'll just, take pills. Okay, Kurt Cobain. Even if we could get all of the vitamin D3 needed through supplementation, perfectly designed and absorbed in the body as stuff that makes your own skin, you would miss out on the other benefits of sunlight, included enhanced mitochondrial ATP production, proper energy creation in the cellular body, cell signaling and growth factor synthesis, and an attenuation of oxidative stress. So the best way to get vitamin D is through the skin. Recommend working up to 20 to 30 minutes of direct, unrestricted sunlight exposure between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Yeah, like having lunch outside when it's not, if you don't live in a northern climate where the weather, like I said earlier, is trying to kill you. Those with fair skin may need to work their way up. Yeah, if you're a quarter of my people, if you're some of them Irish out there, some of them fair-scared Irishmen, yeah, you got to work up to that. Those with darker skin will need longer periods of sun exposure. Yeah, but you get a tan all year long. I think you can take the trade-off. So, should you supplement? Do you think that you fall within that 70% of children? And I think I've seen some reports that like 80% of people just overall are deficient. When a clinician recommends vitamin D supplementation, they must consider a wide range of factors that could go into how the body metabolizes the supplement. Those include the patient's levels of vitamin A, K, calcium, magnesium, and parathyroid hormone status, along with how they assimilate food. My perspective, vitamin D3 is the only form that should be supplemented. Yeah, it's just as cheap as just straight up vitamin D. And it just cuts out the middleman, and it doesn't have to work on synthesis within the body. It's just available when you supplement with it. You just cut straight to the chase. And it should be used in conjunction with vitamin K2. Yeah, I have a K2 supplement that's just over there as well, and it's a little coconut oil pill. It's a purple jar. You can get it on Amazon, by the way. Cheap as chips, especially for the fact that there's 300 doses in there. I have one pill a day, and it's just perfect. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I totally recommend it. Like I said at the beginning, we'll give you the good, we'll give you the bad, and what can happen if you get too much vitamin D. Just as low levels of vitamin D are cause for concern, so are levels in excess. Ideal vitamin D, like many other things, fall into a bell-shaped curve. God, we're talking about darker skin. Now we're talking about bell curves. I'm feeling a little bit uneasy about this. Just kidding. I don't care. When blood levels of 25 OHD levels are close to 100 nanograms per milliliter and beyond, it's considered toxic. Yeah, that's if you're like consuming a bottle of this stuff a day, by the way. This means it's stored in the liver, adipose tissue, and skeletal muscle, and are more likely to become toxic than water-soluble vitamins, because yeah, if you run an excess of water-soluble vitamins, they just magically disappear, something like that. But what are the symptoms of vitamin D toxicity within the body? Heart attack, stroke, kidney stones, headache, nausea. It's weird because you can get a migraine from a deficiency, but then you can get a headache from a toxicity. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, anorexia, weight loss, and low bone density. Vitamin D can be a life-changing nutrient. It is important to understand its importance in human health and be armed with safe, appropriate strategies to optimize levels within the body. I would recommend it. Okay, I don't know you. There's a good chance that I will never know you if you are watching this, but hey, that's not by design. It's just by the fact that, you know, numbers don't really work out in our favor. But if you would like to have vitamin D, yeah, little pills, 2,000 IUs, a few times a week, ain't gonna hurt nobody. Okay, there's a good chance, unless you just start to take fists full of this stuff and then just throw it in your face, it ain't gonna work quite like that. It's not going to kill you overnight. But also, always do your blood work. See what you're running deficient in. Okay, you might be running deficient in vitamin D, which is highly possible, but then again, you also might be running a vitamin K, vitamin A, magnesium, calcium, potassium, any one of those other deficiencies as well. Please go talk to your medical professional. They will fill you in as to what you're lacking, and hey, you can properly supplement. Maybe you can get outside a little bit more, see that sun, and then you can just adjust as needed. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.